Hi everyone and welcome to my houseplant tour. So in today's video, if you haven't already guessed it, I'm going to be taking you on a tour of the houseplants that I currently have in my collection. I think I'm currently at over 100 plants. Got quite a big variety from sort of small baby plants all the way up to one of my larger monsteras. So I'm quite looking forward to showing you guys around. These are the kind of videos that I absolutely love watching on YouTube, seeing people's collections, getting ideas for either plant styling or even plants to add onto my wish list. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name's Amy and this is my channel. I like to share houseplanty content online just to showcase the love for the plants that I currently have in my collection. Don't forget to give the video a like and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell for more updates on planty content. If you're not new here, thanks again for joining me. I really do appreciate having you here. Now let's get into the tour. So starting the houseplant tour in the kitchen, the first plant that we have here is my croton. And opposite that I've got my Euphorbia trigona rubra or African milk tree. And then in this corner here I've got my variegated Boston fern, which is making an amazing comeback. Coming out of my kitchen into the hallway I've got my umbrella tree or Schefflera, which has been doing quite well in the hallway. On the dining room table, I've then got this little Mamarilla cactus. And as we turn around over here, I have my yucca, which was bought for me for my 30th birthday by my husband. Down on the coffee table, I've got a little Chinese money plant. I did have the original mother plant, took a cutting, gave it to my nan. She has managed to grow a massive one. My cats unfortunately knocked over and killed the original plant, so I'm glad to have this back in my collection. Just over here I have probably the biggest plant in my collection, which is my Monstera deliciosa, the most recent leaf that she has put out. I mean, to be fair, I do have quite small hands, but that's still pretty sizable. And down here by my back doors, I have got my rather sad looking bird of paradise. Does need a bit of a water and a repot, which I'll do after this video. And then I've got my 3 Ficus elasticas, which all get some nice morning sun. And the last plant in the front room is this Geometrizans cactus. Not quite sure what's going on with this middle bit. Still quite firm down the base, but at the top it has started to sink in on itself a bit. So anyone who knows cactuses, if you can let me know what you think might be happening and what I can do to help it, I'd really appreciate it. At the top of my stairs I've got another Monstera deliciosa, again slightly more juvenile but doing well. Coming into the bathroom, I have got my Phalaenopsis orchids. So I'll just take these down so you can get a better look at them. I've got this mini one here, and then my big orchid here. It's doing really well. And then I've got a little fluffy ruffle fern just up here, again doing quite well. As we come into the bedroom, just to give you a bit of an overview, first thing that you'll notice is Penfold. And coming over here, I have got my green Spathiphyllum. only recently moved here and I'm looking at getting a grow light to either hang up here or one of the ones similar to the cactus downstairs that connects onto the pot. And then I've got my snake plants up here and my cactus on the windowsill. Above the bed I have my marble queen pothos and a neon pothos on the other side. Again, looking to install a grow light up here at some point. Not quite sure what one to go for, but I think it would be nice and they would appreciate a little bit extra light up here. Then got my original golden pothos, which I've taken quite a few cuttings from. This has been doing really well. I've had this since I first got into plants, so it's probably about, I don't know, 5 years old now, 4 or 5 years old. And next to that I have my fishbone cactus. And as we come down, I've then got my Monstera albo that's been doing really well and seems to really appreciate the grow lights. And down here, my Monstera adansonii. Again, I think this was another plant that I got relatively early on into my houseplant journey, and has been doing really well since I've had it. Now, the spare room, or plant room as I have nicknamed it, is the room in the house that has the most plants. So I will start from here and work my way around. So the first plant as you come in is my philodendron fuzzy petiole. This is a relatively new plant and it is giving me a new leaf just here, so I'm quite excited to see what that looks like. And onto the first shelving unit we have my philodendron verrucosum, and behind that is my philodendron pink princess. And then I've got my Amedrium medium silver just behind here, and in front of that is my philodendron Florida green. It literally gave me this leaf about two weeks ago, and it's already starting to push out another leaf. And on one above that, I've got a fair few plants up here. So I have my Anthurium balanoum, I think it's pronounced. I'm just going to turn it slightly. But this is the newest leaf that it's putting out. It's still hardening off. Next to that, I have my Hoya Crimson Princess. Again, these are the newest leaves it's given me since I chopped it and propagated it. Next to that, I've got a very sad looking Ficus benjamina, or Benglass Audrey. In front of that, I have a recent new addition, which is my Monstera obliqua Peru. It is a baby plant, but it is currently pushing out a new leaf just behind here, if you can see that. I've also got my Hoya Waiaii tricolour inner variegated. Again, that's giving me a couple of new leaves. Just going to move a couple of the plants. So I have a couple of propagations up here as well. So I've got the first one, which is my Philodendron Splendid. This is doing really well, currently propagating in moss. It's got a lot of roots in here. I don't know if you'll be able to see them through the cling film, but it is also starting to push out some new growth, which I think you can just about see in there. So I'm quite looking forward to getting this potted up and seeing how it grows. Next to that, propagating in water, I've got my Philodendron Glorious, which is just sat in with a marble queen cutting. I think what I'm going to do with this one, I was originally going to put it into the pot in the bedroom, but I might grow this one up a moss pole so I can have one climbing, one trailing. With the Glorious, again, that is giving me a growth point in there, so I'm just going to probably leave it in water for a little bit longer before I look to pot that one up as well. And I've also got a Philodendron Micans cutting, which again is looking at putting out a new leaf just in there. In front of that is my baby Anthurium clarinervium cross. Not sure what it is crossed with, but yeah, she's doing well. And the other plant that lives up here is my Anthurium crystallinum baby plant, and this is the newest leaf that this one has pushed out for me. Moving on to the top of the cabinet, I have again some more cuttings. I did have a Monstera Standleyana or Philodendron Cobra that unfortunately snapped. So I have chopped that all up and I've got loads of different propagations dotted around. I've then got my Epipremnum Cebu Blue, which is doing quite well up here. Next to that, I have a Scindapsus Pictus Tribii, I believe it's called. I am butchering the names of these, I am aware. I'll put the actual names up on the screen. And then I've got my Philodendron Brazil, followed by a Christmas cactus. I believe this one blooms pink. Down onto this shelf, I have my Hoya Crimson Queen, which is doing quite well. And in front of that is my Monstera Adansonii Mint, again giving me another new leaf. I've then got a Ficus Elastica Shivriana, which again is the most recent leaf it has given me. Next to that is my Philodendron Plougmanii. I do also have a Philodendron Marme, and at the moment, I think because they are still quite juvenile plants, I do keep looking at them and wondering if they are the same plant or not. I guess we'll see as they mature. In front of that is my little pickle plant. I love how fuzzy this one is. And I've also got a very sad looking string of turtles that isn't doing very well, but we won't talk about that one. And I've got a Philodendron Florida Ghost. String of pearls, which is actually doing quite well. The first one of these I had, I did manage to rot, but this one seems to be doing really well for me. I've then got a string of hearts here. I just love the way this one cascades down. And I am hoping to get both of the variegated versions of these at some point. I've then got my Philodendron Mayoed, which again is giving us a new leaf just back here. As I said, I have got several Monstera Standleyana cuttings. These ones are about ready to be potted up. And then I have some very tiny ones here, which I am potentially going to keep for another plant swap. Then I've got my Ripsalis or mistletoe cactus just here in front of that. And then a Burrow's tail just here. Then I have my purple passion plant, which is doing amazingly. Got some Monstera Adansonii cuttings. These ones I think, again, I'm going to put up separately to the mother plant and look to have them trailing instead of climbing. I've then got another little Chinese money plant baby here, followed by a white Christmas cactus, I believe. A couple of Hoya linearis cuttings. Then my Hoya pubicalyx. These are the new leaves it's given me. I love how dark they come in. And then Hoya lacunosa silver, which again is doing really well and has started pushing out some new growth. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus it so you can see it. There you go. But yeah, doing really well. The next shelf down, I have a recent addition, my Monstera Esqueleto cutting. Again, this is just propagating in moss. In front of that is the Philodendron White Princess. This is the most recent leaf that it has given me. I've then got my Global Green Pothos. I am looking at getting like a ladder style planter so that a lot of my pothos can go in there and trail down, but at the moment it is just chilling up here. Got my lipstick plant here, which I believe is the Hot Flash. I've then got just behind here my Monstera Siltepecana. Can't decide whether or not I want this one to trail or grow up something, so at the moment just chilling here and we'll see. What do you guys think, trailing or climbing? Behind that is my Philodendron Micans, which is doing really well. It's giving me loads of new growth, as you can see. And then I've got my Scindapsus Pictus argyraeus, or the Satin Pothos. And here we have the Philodendron Marme. as I said, when you do look at it with the Philodendron Plougmanii, not sure which is which, but this is what they were purchased as, so we're going to go with that and just see how they mature. And the last plants on this shelf are my cactus. So I have an old man cactus here. I think this is some form of spiral cactus, but if you guys know the actual name, do let me know. I then got a Geometrizans cactus. I'm really terrible with names, so I'm probably just going to stay quiet and pop the names on the screen for the rest of the cactuses for you. But I do have a Mamarilla as well in the middle, and then a barrel cactus just here. And these last two are a couple of Euphorbia. So again, I've got the Euphorbia trigona, but the green variety. Love this one because it is actually branching out at the moment. And then I've got the Euphorbia lauricata, which is one that I hadn't heard of or seen before, but I do just love the way it grows. Like, I can't get enough of how there's little leaves on it. So quite excited to see how those grow going forwards. And this shelf is full of all of my Calathea maranta and some Alocasia. So the first one here, I have the Tenanthe Golden Mosaic in semi-hydro. I've then got my Calathea Rosiopicta Surprise Star, followed by the Calathea Macleona, or the Calathea Peacock. Here I have a nice little lemon lime maranta. Again, this is the newest leaf it has put out for me. I have found that since all of my Calathea maranta and Stramanthe have been in semi-hydro, they have been doing amazingly. And then got this little Alocasia dragon scale, just in water, giving it a chance to grow some water roots before I move that into semi-hydro. And the same goes for the Calathea zebrina that is next to it. And also the Alocasia ninja that's just behind that, which is actually pushing out a new leaf just here. Dotted next to that, I have my Alocasia amazonica, again in water, pushing out a new leaf, but just so it can get some water roots before it goes into semi-hydro. Then next to that, I have my Maranta variegated. I'm absolutely loving the leaves that this is giving me. It is pushing out so many new leaves. It's doing quite well. But what I do really love about it, I'm just going to take it down so I can show you, is it has a completely white section which has started pushing out leaves from 2 new growth points. So quite excited to see how this continues to grow. Is one that does need upsizing very soon, but loving it at the moment. I've then got my plain green maranta here. Again, this is doing really well, lots of new growth coming out since it's moved into semi-hydro in a self-watering planter. And then my Calathea orbifolia, which again, I'm just giving some time to grow some water roots. Oh, I need to top that up before moving it into semi-hydro. So that's just sort of an overview of the shelving unit. Next to the shelving unit is my Philodendron Bilietiae. Again, this is just looking at putting out a new leaf now. It did sort of do nothing for quite a while, but I feel like that may have been a lighting issue as well as inconsistent watering. And just in front of that, we have my Rhaphidophora decursiva, which again has given me this beautiful leaf since I've had it in my care. Really looking forward to seeing how this one grows as well. Turning round to the mirror, I am going to move the plant just so you can see it a bit better. But on this shelf is my green heartleaf philodendron. Again, doing really well. I'm looking at training her to climb up the wall. And on the coffee table in the middle of the room is my variegated Spathiphyllum. This one has recently given me a flower, which I am super pleased with. But yeah, she's been doing really well and loving the afternoon light that she gets from this window. Down in this corner, I then have my ZZ plant. Did have to cut quite a bit off of this when I repotted it as she went into a bit of shock, but all in all doing well now. Just above her, you can see the bottom of it is my Hoya linearis. Again, doing really well, pushing out some new growth here. Up on this shelf, I've got my Black Pagoda lipstick plant. Again, what I love about this one is the underside of these leaves. They're stunning. But again, pushing out loads of new growth since we've hit spring. Beside that, in a hanging planter, is my fern leaf cactus. Again, it hasn't really been doing a huge amount. Is currently working on pushing this out. I think part of me is tempted to buy a big one and add this one into it, but I also need to learn to be patient, so we'll see what happens. It may happen, it may not, but I would really love a massive one of these, like wild ferns or Emma Good Growing. They've got such beautiful ones, and I am very tempted to get a big one and add this one into it, because it's then technically still the same plant. It's not like I've added an extra one to the collection. Next to my ZZ plant is my Philodendron gloriosum and Digby, who is looking to get involved in the video. Again, this is the newest leaf that she has put out for me, and she's currently working on another little one down here. I've then got some cuttings of my golden pothos that are currently climbing up a moss pole here. So that's doing really well. I can't wait to see how big I can get this one. And next to that, I have my dragon tree just here. And on the IKEA stand, I've then got my, which one are you? I think this is the Enjoy pothos, and then the Mandula pothos, which again, couldn't decide whether or not I wanted trailing or climbing, so I think I'm going to train part of it to start climbing up the wall, and then let the rest of it trail. Then got my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma here, which again, not quite sure whether or not to have it climbing something or just train it up this section of the wall and around the door. But yeah, I've got a new little growth point just down here. And on the final unit, I have my bush lily that was given to me as a cutting. And above that, my Haworthia. So I've got the Haworthia limifolia, the Haworthia zebrawort, which was given to me by my sister. This lived and got full sun where she was living, and I mean, it is pushing out new growth, so I don't think it's dead, but we'll see what happens. And then this unnamed Haworthia that I'm not quite sure what it is, but you can see how it's so red on the outside and on the inside. Turn you this way, you can just make out that it's starting to send out some new green growth. And then this empty pot, I am looking to fill it with a Philodendron Ring of Fire. Again, I'm trying not to get any more plants until next month, because I have snuck quite a few in and realised that I clearly have a problem. Oh, and the last thing is on this bottom shelf. I have got my propagation box. So in here, let me just open it up. I have got some Rhaphidophora tetrasperma cuttings just over here. A couple of additional cuttings of my Monstera Stanleyana. I do actually need to go through this just to check and make sure it's all okay, because this one does look like it has started to rot a bit there. And then an additional Rhaphidophora tetraspermacutton, which is doing quite well at the moment. And that's it for the houseplant tour. I hope you guys enjoyed walking around with me and seeing the plants that I have in my collection. Let me know if there are any in there that surprised you, or any that you thought were unusual, any tips that you've got on plant care. I welcome everything. It'd be nice to catch up in the comments. Don't forget to give it a like and hit that subscribe button for more planty content. Bye.